특별한 일 없으셨습니까?
Paper. That's right, guys. We're talking about seasons 1 through 9 of The Office. No, I'm kidding. We're talking about... Wait. Bomb Squad I'm Tanner Richard Kraft. This is Bomb Squad Matinee, and you're watching Disney Channel. Bum, 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 bum.
Hi, I'm Tim M. Sullivan.
Hi, I'm Austin Zwiebelman.
We're talking about No Other Choice, the new Park Chan-Wook movie. A new dark comedy, right? We'd say this is a dark comedy from Park Chan-Wook.
Yeah.
And on that subject, I've decided to pose the question, what's your favorite dark comedy? Austin, I just know you have a great answer locked in the chamber, so we'll start with you.
Oh my god, yeah, I did have this one locked and loaded. This one has been in my top 5 since high school, and it never left. I'm talking about Patty Chayefsky's 1976 satirical masterpiece, Network! In my opinion, one of the greatest American films ever made. Network feels like a movie that was written by a fucking time traveler, in a move that seems impossibly edgy for 1976. This film's inciting incident is based off Christine Chabuk's on-air cancellation of her subscription to Life magazine. Right when the movie starts, they do such a great job of like anchoring you in the post-Vietnam reality where news was like very serious business, and you absolutely cannot under any circumstances say the word bullshit on air. And then Howard Beale interrupts the regular evening news to tell everybody he's gonna blow his fucking brains out. And it's like you got struck by a bolt of lightning from Zeus. This movie is 50 years old, and it has more relevant shit to say about politics than half the movies that came out this year. If you're one of those people who likes Aaron Sorkin screenplays, and you want to see what happens when somebody has that same level of skill, but isn't a saccharine shitlib, go check out Network. This movie's so good that Beatrice Straight won an Oscar, even though she's only on screen for 5 minutes. Even crazier than that, at the end of the movie, Ned Beatty accurately explains the way the entire world functions, also only in 5 minutes. Network is also one of those rare screenplays that ends on like a classically structured punchline. It's very impressive. I cannot recommend this movie enough. It's the closest thing I have to gospel in film form. The Criterion 4K is coming out at the end of the month. I'm beyond excited for it. That's my answer. Favorite dark comedy. It's Network. Back to you, Tanner.
If you want to see more Austin Network content, this is kind of in a roundabout way, but on this very channel, Austin used an early version of Character.ai to, I don't know what service that was, to make SpongeBob do the Ned Beatty monologue that Austin's talking about, with Mr. Krabs just going.
It's one of the best
very
speeches
funny
in film.
It's back when the faking a character voice was bad enough that you could tell it was fake. Not like now when and that added to the charm, obviously. Surprised you didn't say Happiness 1998. No, I'm kidding. Tim, what's your answer for favorite dark comedy?
Yeah, so I did try to avoid any horror comedies when I was looking for what my answer might be, because that's a separate category that I already covered on Return of the Living Dead. But my pick, there's some horror adjacent stuff in it, but I wouldn't call it a horror movie, and that is Yorgos Lanthimos' The Lobster. I fucking love The Lobster. It's probably my favorite Lanthimos movie. I think it's the first one I watched, and it's a really great satire of just societal expectations of people dating, being somebody who I'm the resident wife guy of the channel now, but I used to be very, very, very single, and so I related to that movie a lot when I watched it. But it's really good. Great performances from Colin Farrell and everybody else. It's just a really good dark comedy. Don't watch it on a date. Back to you, Tanner.
Yeah.
Great answer, great answer. All right, my time to shine. Hello. Who's ready to hear the Rotten Tomatoes list for the 60 best black comedies ranked by the Tomato Meter?
Here we go.
Oh, he's at it again.
I got shit you never even heard of on here, like Freeway, 1996.
The fuck is that?
Exactly. We got some other bangers on here, like Used Cars, 1980. That's a Robert
Made that
Zemeckis
up.
movie. Maybe you've heard that. Yeah. Carnage, 2011. Adam's Apple, 2005. That movie stars Mads Mikkelsen, proving once and for all that Mads Mikkelsen has starred in more movies that don't exist than movies that do exist. Then we got some movies that are real, like Bad Santa, a movie that I didn't like when I watched it, but I think I would probably like it if I watched it now. I just think I was in a bad mood.
That I do rank pretty high among, like, pretty accessible dark comedies. Like, that was sort of my first exposure to the concept of a dark comedy was Bad Santa. I like it, but that's just
We
me.
got T2 Train Spotting on this list. I guess I think it's a dark movie that sometimes has comedy. I don't know if that makes it a dark comedy. We got Kiss Kiss Bang Bang on here. I think that movie's too fluffy to be a true dark comedy.
It's got dark edges, but it's also... It hasn't aged well, like the type of screenplay it is. I cringed a bit.
We got
rewatching it.
Arsenic and Old Lace. Funny movie. Here's a great one that I recommend everyone sees. World's Greatest Dad. It's a movie about a teacher who suddenly gets popular after his son kills himself. And that's all I'll say. The less you know going into Robin Williams' World's Greatest Dad, the better.
It's Dear Evan Hansen, but for real ones.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Then we have like a bunch of Coen Brothers movies, like my favorite, Burn After Reading. You know, we got that. We got Fargo. We got A Serious Man. A recent one, The Death of Stalin. I still haven't seen it, but I've heard nothing but great things. And then the number one dark comedy, according to Rotten Tomatoes, is Kind Hearts and Coronets. Never heard of him.
What the hell?
I don't know what that is.
Is that
But
like
anyway-
the 40s?
It is. Then I found some random IMDb list with answers on here, like A Man Called Ove, which you may know as that Tom Hanks movie from a few years ago, A Man Called, I don't know, Hank? Otto, okay. Then we have movies on here that just straight up aren't dark comedies, like Airplane, Groundhog Day.
I can make an argument for Groundhog Day, but Airplane, no.
But Airplane?
Not at all. It's a zany Zucker Brothers comedy. It's like a slapstick.
Here we
fucking all
go.
over the place.
1990, Misery.
Where? Where is the comedy in that one?
That's
Somebody
what
show
I'm
me the
trying to
comedy.
figure out, my guy. The Blues Brothers. Just because they're wearing dark suits doesn't make it a dark comedy. The Great Dictator. Again, I think you only think of that as dark because of the context surrounding it. Oh, here's one for Tim. Remember, Tim, this is a list of dark comedies according to some guy. Office Space.
Yep.
Yes.
A Clockwork Orange.
Not at all.
If you think that shit's funny, see a doctor. American Psycho. It's satirical. The Big Lebowski. Where's the Dark? Synagogue, New York. Or Synagogue, New York? Huh? Funny?
That is the best. That's the best way of pronouncing that.
Synagogue, New York.
Here's another one. Baby Driver? No, that's a very silly, fluffy movie.
Look at the balls
Goodfellas.
on that kid.
It's
I
a dark
guess.
it's a dark comedy if it's funny and someone dies. That's the rule.
Birdman? No, Birdman's not a dark comedy. District 9? No, that's not a dark comedy. Snatch? Dark?
Yeah, Snatch is kind of dark. You know, it's got a gritty.
Full Metal Jacket comedy.
The first half. The first half of it.
And then number one on this guy's list is, of course, none other than American Beauty.
My favorite dark comedy.
Anyway, I have two real dark comedies. One that I almost went with because I kind of wanted to talk about it. And even though it's maybe not my all-time favorite movie, I don't know when maybe I'll have a chance to talk about it again. So I'll start with that one. In 2015, there was a movie from Germany that came out called, and Austin maybe has seen this, called Look Who's Back. The premise of the movie was when Adolf Hitler killed himself, instead of actually killing himself, he somehow sent himself forward in time 70 years and woke up in the middle of a field in modern-day Germany. And some TV producer, seeing him as a performance artist, decides to start giving him airtime because it's great for ratings and people think it's so funny and interesting. And then he starts gaining real power. He starts a real political movement, and things sort of spiral out of control. And then eventually the TV producer kind of just goes, fuck, I think this guy's actually Adolf Hitler. Anyway, the reason I bring this up is because when it came out, it was an interesting satire. It was very controversial in Germany because there were scenes filmed where they actually had the actor that was playing Hitler just out and about in the real world, and people interacted with him, assuming he was some crazy performance artist, and were like, yeah, let me take a selfie with you. And I think the filmmakers are intentionally being like, even if you see some guy doing that, maybe take a photo of it. Why are you taking selfies with him? You know, why do you want to take a selfie with Hitler so bad? Like, interesting in that regard. In 2015, matter of fact, I'm gonna look up very specifically when this movie came out, just to find something out. It officially came out on October 8th, 2015 in Germany. All right? In October of 2015, here's the reason I'm bringing it up. At the time, it was just this funny little movie that maybe said something about society. But little did we know it said a lot more than we thought it did, because, of course, when this movie came out, who was in the middle of his first run for president? None other than Donald Trump.
Yeah.
The movie instantly became aged in a way to its benefit. You know, they made that with the idea that this couldn't happen again, I think. But they also, no, I think they definitely had the idea that something like this could happen. I just don't think it would happen so quickly. The filmmakers. It's a great movie. It is funny. It does, I think, maybe lose a bit of its comedy, because at the time, I think part of the absurdity of it was literally Hitler getting popular again. But that doesn't feel too far-fetched now, unfortunately. So, but it's a great movie. Austin, it sounds like you have at least heard of it, if not seen it.
I've seen it, and is Bruno Ganz playing Hitler in that one? Because he also played Hitler in Downfall. I have, like, the memory that they both have the same actor playing Hitler, but I don't... That could be wrong.
It's an actor named Oliver Masucci.
Damn it, I didn't get the Wings of Desire guy. Why did I have that?
He played Anton Vogel in the last Fantastic Beast movie, but also apparently in 2020, this guy played Werner Fassbender in a movie.
Oh.
Like the director?
Yeah. The man who died with a cigarette still going. Like, he died in a chair, just like the cigarette just kind of just going out in his lifeless body.
King shit.
That guy lived fast.
So yeah, there is it's a great movie. I think that is maybe more pertinent and timely than we ever thought possible. 10, 11 years later, I still think it's really good. So I thought about saying that for my answer. And then I looked at one of these lists for dark comedies, and I saw that Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, is a dark comedy. I went, oh, no, wait, no, that's just the correct answer. So my final answer is Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb.
That's fair. It's completely fair.
But that's not the movie we're talking about today. We're talking about a different type of dark comedy today. If you can't tell from the paper factory going on in the background, we're talking about No Other Choice, Park Chan-Wook's newest movie is the latest film to somehow get fucking snubbed from Best International Feature Film at the Oscars, meaning that Parasite remains not only the only South Korean film to be nominated for Best International Feature at the Oscars, but like the only South Korean film to be nominated for an Oscar ever, period. Parasite remains the only one.
Bastards.
Which is crazy to me. But
yeah,
we'll
like
get
golden age fucking films. They have been for like 25 years.
They probably have the best film industry after us, I'd say, honestly, in terms of the quality and the quantity of what's coming out. But we're talking about No Other Choice, a great movie.
나는 내 식구들 입에 밥을 넣어주기 위해 무슨 짓이든 한다. 어쩔 수가 없다.
Tim, we're gonna go ahead and start with you.
Yeah, so I guess I'm somewhat versed in Park Chan-Wook's filmography. I've seen the Vengeance trilogy and The Handmaiden. I don't know if I'd seen anything else before seeing No Other Choice, but I was definitely curious about this. The trailers all looked very good, and I just, was interested that he was making a new movie, wanted to see what he had cooking, and I guess I'll just start with the last sentence of my Letterboxd review, which is the shit a motherfucker will have to do for the job market these days. Paraphrasing what I said, but yeah, no, this is a good movie, and it definitely hits hard when you're struggling to get good work. This man is really going through it just to get a job, and it's a very funny movie, very good dark comedy. I love some of the like absurd gags, like just the part where he the famous like taking off all of the oven mitts for the gun, and just the skirmish after that with the fucking loud blasting music is such a good fucking scene. Love that scene. There's a lot of really good stuff in this movie. I think it's definitely like that ending really hits hard, just seeing everything that this man did just to try and get a chance at a job, like all these horrible things that he had to do, and then he gets the job, but he loses his family, he loses his wife, he loses his dogs, and he goes to work in this place that's just robots, and he has nobody there with him, so he's just kind of in this isolation with this AI bullshit he's surrounded by. Yeah, that's brutal. Yeah, real good movie. Thoughts are a little scattered right now, but I will leave it to Austin to talk about some cool stuff. So I'll take it back to you, Tank.
Great stuff. Yeah, it's a great movie. Austin, I'm sure you are locked and loaded with lots of stuff to say. You and I talked about this at work, and you were really into it when we were talking about it, so go ahead and let her rip.
It was so hard to write about this movie. I don't know why. I had just like a major like blockage putting my thoughts into words for this one. Something about it. To begin my thoughts though, I watched this interesting video by YouTuber Hannah Cho, aka Hannah from Korea, explaining the critical reception for No Other Choice was more mixed in its native territory of South Korea. Hong Soo-jong of Keiko Brunch Story wrote that Park Chan-Wook's movies often lack plausibility, but the protagonists of his movies are at the very least emotionally persuasive to the viewers, and he found that quality lacking in Yu Man-soo. Also from Brunch, Kim Young-bong wrote that No Other Choice, and I'm going to paraphrase here, beats the shit out of you and doesn't offer a satisfying range of emotions, which can be tough to sit through in this economy. I know that this sentence might have sounded unusual 7 years ago, but this movie makes Parasite seem like it's a wonderful life. In Parasite, you have these obvious, like, human villains to channel your anger at. It's about this, like, upper class versus everybody else vertical warfare thing. Meanwhile, in No Other Choice, it's about the diminishing group of middle class workers having to fuck each other so that they can hold on to, like, owning a house, watching Netflix, owning 2 golden retrievers. Ooh. Yeah, horizontal warfare, much less fun. The villains of No Other Choice are these distant corporate assholes who we basically never meet, or abstract systems inherent to late-stage capitalism. And while in Parasite, you get that melancholy kind of dream sequence at the end about how somebody feasibly could work hard and buy a fancy house, along with the always welcome, very much more real working man on rich person violence. The ending of No Other Choice makes it extremely clear that even though Yu Man-soo fucking liquidated 3 people to get hired again, he maybe just bought himself like another year or 2 in the dark by himself, and there's no real guarantee that the paper company will even need him for long.
Yeah.
It was funny. My spouse, Sid and I, we actually watched this movie in 2 parts on our first go-through. We started this really late one night, and we only had time to watch about 30 to 40 minutes. I was telling Tanner about this at work. Mind you, so my husband, he's a senior level full stack developer who's been having to do short-term contract jobs since he got laid off by Microsoft a few months ago. And the beginning of this movie is just you getting fucking pummeled. It's just the stuff of nightmares. I almost cried when they had to ship off the dogs. This movie felt like it was created to fuck with us specifically, or anybody out there who's like struggling right now. And but I kept telling him, like, oh, this movie's got a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, and the guy who did Old Boy made this, so I assumed shit was gonna pop off like crazy once he started killing people. Why would 97% of critics give a positive review to a movie without some seriously satisfying payoffs? And in certain ways, this movie does perform at an insanely high level. There's a lot of stuff in here that reminds me of, like, the aerial car shot from Zodiac, or, like, the stuff with, like, the horses in The Revenant, where if you've ever tried to, like, film a movie before, and you really stop to think, like, how did they film that? You realize there's a batshit level of technical complexity going on. I know lots of people have been amazed at, like, you drinking the bomb shot, the POV from inside the mug, and the scene with Lee being shown a bunch of guns on a tablet that keeps rotating to different reflections of other characters. But it's not like a Tarsum Singh movie or anything. The cinematography isn't so showy that it can, like, bear the weight of the whole movie. While this is, like, cutting-edge camera trick showcase 1000, this mostly just looks like real life. The acting and plot have a certain regular amount of lifting to do. And I think the only time this movie had me, like, 1000% locked in was the scene with Red Dragonfly playing, where everybody's shouting at each other and fighting over the gun. Overall, I came away from this a little underwhelmed on my second watch. The movie, it, like, gives you a lot to chew on, and the script is packed with these clever touches that really reward a second pass. But it never got, like, weird enough or funny enough or brutal enough to feel properly, like, dangerous in a way I wanted. The subplots with the kids didn't fold cleanly into the main thread, especially the daughter, whose, like, last-minute decision to play for her parents, in particular, felt, like, underprepared and emotionally unearned. And the first man he kills, clearly has a big impact on him, while the next 2 don't seem to register to the same extent. Like, I figured they'd either go for volume, like in the book he kills 7 guys, or emotional impact, where each person he executes changes him dramatically, and they kind of didn't do either all the way. The film also doesn't give any realistic alternatives that would, like, clarify if he's acting out of, like, pride or sheer stubbornness. Instead, it keeps implying that every other option would inevitably, like, drop the family below their current standard of living. So this convoluted murder scheme becomes the only, realistic path. That feels weirdly out of touch with how economic desperation actually works. And it also shuts down kind of like a deeper exploration of the protagonist's psychology, because we never see him seriously try to grapple with other ways to live. So to kind of wrap up here, No Other Choice is exceptional from a formalist perspective, but emotionally, it left me a little bit cold, even though I've seen it twice. I'd give this like 7.5 out of 10. Back to you, Tanner.
Obviously you're entitled to your opinion, and you're all saying cool stuff here, but I just want to say two things in response to what you just said. Number one, in regards to the psychological impact of the killings and why he seems to kind of just fly by the next two versus the first one. I think that was intentional. I think the idea is that once he finally makes the decision to kill one guy, he's broken himself beyond repair already with that. And two, I thought the first guy he killed, where he like makes fun of him for being like, why don't you just open a shop with your dad or your mother, your dad-in-law or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you just do XYZ? And the guy's like, but I'm a paper man. I have to work in paper. I just saw that as a reflection of the main character. The guy refused to not work in paper because he was too full of pride. Our main character refused to not work in paper because he was too prideful.
But they didn't give him a real alternative that they suggested would like pay enough for the family not to collapse. They kind of imply that when he's working at like kind of the Metro Market, whatever the fuck that place is, I assumed it's kind of like a Korean equivalent of a Target, that they're just like slowly going broke. Like something about it fiscally doesn't like match up. It's not like he has somewhere else he could go to, like a realistic path that he could pursue if he swallowed his pride at some point. They're not like, oh, you could go get the job at my brother's fucking, car dealership or something. There's nothing like that.
My opinion was that he was even too full of pride to even consider it.
That's fair.
And thirdly, about the emotional payoff of his daughter playing feel unearned. Once again, I was under the impression that was intentionally unsatisfying. That like it doesn't, like, it's supposed to feel like there's a bit of artifice to like now everything's cool now at the end. There's like a bit of artifice to it. Because, like, he didn't actually fucking earn that shit, so it all feels artificial. He's not there to listen to his daughter play, really. He has to go alone at work, and you think when he's alone at that fucking factory with all the fucking lights off, he'll go, what have I done? But instead, he does a little fucking dance, and you realize he doesn't regret a goddamn thing. I fucking loved this movie. I do want to say, though, I actually do think his job's pretty secure, only because I realistically think a company like that will want a person there during the run.
Yeah.
In case something goes wrong. That way they could be there to fix it. I actually realistically think that they would at least have one person on staff there at all times because of that. So I know the movie tries to make it seem like it's actually not that secure. I actually think his job is pretty secure, personally. At least realistically speaking. Maybe the movie wants you to think that it's a fucking bum dead end, but I'm under the impression that it's probably pretty safe, realistically speaking. I fucking love this movie. I do want to say that that Lee Byung-hun gives my favorite leading man performance of the year. I think he nails the comedy of this. He nails the drama of this. It all. If he was nominated for an Oscar, I'd pick that scene where he's chewing the guy out while he's holding a gun to him. Like, why don't you just get off your lazy ass, you alcoholic? That would be the Oscar clip scene. His performance is great, but the entire cast is spectacular. I think the screenplay is really engaging. But you know what the thing that makes Park Chan-Wook special, man? Two things. One, this motherfucker does shit with a camera I can't even comprehend half the time. He be doing transitions and editing tricks and camera work that I'm like, how the fuck do you think of that? And two, unlike most filmmakers that operate in contemporary settings, Park Chan-Wook is not a fucking coward. Not only does he acknowledge the fact that smartphones exist, he embraces them. He considers them integral to his plots. The smartphone, the way he shoots smartphones is way better than any other fucking filmmaker I've ever seen on the planet. Right? I haven't seen this since early December, unfortunately. I didn't have time for a rewatch. But it's fucking brilliant, man. This movie is so good. The screenplay is spectacular. I haven't seen the original. I haven't read the book. I also haven't. I haven't seen I haven't read the book The Axe. I haven't seen the French movie The Axe. That, from what I understand, I think Park Chan-Wook more remade that French language movie than he adapted the book, because he specifically cites the film in the credits. So that makes like two big prestigious pictures this year that were based off of movies in other languages, the other being Begonia.
Right.
Run Like Begonia's Chasing Us. Tim, you haven't seen this, but there's like a guy on Twitter whose 5-year-old daughter keeps acting like Begonia is the most important character in the world. Which, first off, there's no one in that movie called Begonia. Like, apparently the guy made a tweet today where his 5-year-old daughter had a play date, and the play date came over and said, "Can we watch Bluey?" And his daughter apparently said, "How about we watch the trailer for Begonia?"
Let's go. She just really
The kid hasn't seen it, by the way.
She just really likes Chapel Roan.
Do you remember being a kid and being obsessed with a movie for adults that you had not seen? I just imagine that's what's going on here.
Yeah.
This kid is destined to be like head of the AFI. Like they're like cinephile Jesus.
Basically, they're the second coming.
5.
But yeah, I can't believe this movie wasn't nominated for an Oscar. I think it's brilliant. I think it has a lot of interesting stuff to say about capitalism. Especially, I think, for as bad as we complain about late stage capitalism or whatever we call it here in America, I think workers in Korea have it way fucking worse than we do.
Yes,
We
they
are
do.
afforded a lot more rights, both by literal laws that the government has enshrined we are entitled to more rights, and also socially we are entitled to more rights. There is large amounts of societal pressure over there to basically work until you die. Work until you drop, your bones fall out of your body. It's kind of fucking insane over there.
Yeah.
The work culture in Korea.
60-hour weeks, baby.
60-hour weeks is the standard. We at least, like, we complain about our labor rights a lot in this country. I think America is, relative to a lot of countries in the world, actually pretty top class in terms of labor rights. And it's movies like No Other Choice in the country of Korea and also Japan that can remind you it can be worse.
Yeah.
It can actually be a lot worse. Because they industrialized. I think it's important to remember that in like the 40s and the 50s, Korea was a very rural country. And then by like the 70s or 80s, they were almost on par with America in terms of industrialization. That is how fucking quickly they did that shit.
Jesus God.
They speed ran capitalism, basically. And also, someone tries to take over the country like every 10 years. It's kind of interesting. They just had a coup a couple years ago, or an attempted coup, that failed because the legislator was able to stop it in time. It's very funny. The president was like, "I declare martial law," and then he tried to station the soldiers outside of the legislator building, and then a bunch of legislators literally like snuck in or crawled over into windows and said, "We vote against this." And that works in Korea, funnily enough.
Nice.
You can vote your way out of a situation over there. It's amazing. I'm sure we're going to have a lot more to say about No Other Choice after a brief commercial break. Welcome back from that ad break for another ad. You see that shit? That Home Alone 2 Lost in New York shit? It's a grid system, motherfucker. Sorry, I couldn't help but reference you out lately. That's a movie palette. That one's for the movie Punch Drunk Love. Tim's pointing for the one for the movie Mandy. Basically what it does is it takes the predominant color of every frame of the movie and chops it up into these little bits and puts it on a nice canvas for your viewing pleasure. You can go ahead and order one for Old Boy. I don't think No Other Choice is on there, but for a little extra money, you can get one custom made. So go ahead, add the movie palette to your choice to your cart. But before you check out, enter the code SQUAD15 to save 15% on your order. Thank you so much for watching, and back to the show. All right, guys, there's a ton of fucking shots we got to talk about in this movie. Does anyone have some of the one that fucking let her rip?
Yeah, just in general, all of the like compositing stuff really jumped out at me as interesting. Like, I guess one that comes to mind is when they're having the phone call at the end, and he fucking fades into the frame, but it's still like you hear the like phone distortion whenever he's talking. That shit was really cool. Also, like the like dream thing or whatever it was when he sees the sun in the little bonsai bush.
That was so good, and his sun shines like his phone flashlight, and it lights up his face a little bit. That was nuts.
Yeah.
Once again, it shows how Park Chan-Wook is like, yeah, the smartphone is a part of modern society, but I know how to fucking film it.
Exactly.
And I'm not scared of it.
What was it? One of the composite shots where, like, if someone told me to do that, I would ask them if they were high. Like, there's a shot where he's digging a hole to bury, I think, the second guy he murdered after he turns him into an orb.
Yeah.
And he digs the shovel into a ground, and they fade in this layer of his wife, and they masked around her hair. It's just her laying in bed, but they only masked her, and the shovel goes in behind her head, like he's digging into her head with a shovel or something, and they had to mask her hair, and I was like, oh my god, ow!
That shit is so fucking cool. I know the shit you're talking about. It's shit like that that makes me go, huh?
Yeah.
Also, the way he filmed the tooth removal.
Yeah.
I recently got a tooth removed, and I was thinking about that during the process.
Yeah.
I actually went to an oral surgeon and got numbed and everything.
I fucking hope, man.
You know what's funny? My coworker, his name's John. He kept saying, "Tanner, you know I can do it," and he kept just saying, "I got a rusty pair of pliers back here."
Yeah. What is?
And I was just thinking, have you seen?
Like,
yeah. What is it with?
Yeah, I was like, hey, wait a minute. That's what my coworker keeps threatening.
What is it with Park Chan-Wook and using tools to remove people's teeth in movies? Just fucking old boy with the hammer.
It's sick.
what you just said actually is a thing that didn't occur to me. How the fuck did they film that? Do you think they just have like a prosthetic mouth that they had to light up like crazy and get a how? And they had to get the black goo kind of under it. That also wouldn't be easy to film. It's not
They
like the
filmed
craziest
it
thing ever, but jeez.
very carefully.
Yeah. There we go. I will say, like, I just watched it for the second time this afternoon, and for whatever reason, on my first time watching, the whole, like, alcoholism, sober for 9 years thing just completely whizzed by me. But, like, I picked up on that a lot more on this watch, and so, like, I did really like that moment where he, like, has to do the fucking bomb shot, and, like, it feels like the ultimate point of no return, even though he's already killed one dude and is basically accessory for murder of another dude. But this is his true breaking point, and then he's just like, fuck it, yank that tooth.
The way the sound effects and the scene played out, the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, this movie's actually pro him relapsing after 9 years and yanking his own tooth out.
Yeah.
It just seemed like this was him beating the game, was like he needed to have a stiff drink and do some self-dentistry, just because it has like kind of a sound effect, like cha-ching, he figured it out.
Yeah.
It's just like, cool, this is... It reminded him of drinking with his coworkers or something. This was what got him past the mental block, I guess.
It was kind of crazy how he just yanked that shit out, and his fucking Steven Spielberg won a Grammy?
I just mentioned this in the group chat. He's an EGOT now.
Wait, for what?
Music by John Williams, the documentary.
Huh.
Interesting.
Cool. Sorry, I was about to say something.
Forgore?
He's yanking his tooth out.
Yank the tooth out. Al just fucking like how the guy he's with just like, you fucking crazy dude. Instead of what he should have correctly reacted as, what the fuck is wrong with you?
No, I think the
No,
correct...
He was blitzed.
Yeah, absolutely. The correct answer is just horrified looking at that man.
But he kind of thought it was cool.
What? He did the ultimate bounce back, you know? The guy was properly terrified, and then he's like, let's go get drunk by a bonfire. And he also did the ultimate move you could pull around an alcoholic, which is pulling out another full bottle of hard liquor out of nowhere when they believe you have nothing left. They're your immediate best friends for the next, 2 hours.
Yeah.
If you pull that shit.
I do also want to mention that, the way he kills that guy might be the most fucked up kill I've seen in a movie ever. And I've seen some fucking gruesome, gory-ass shit. But, just the idea of being suffocated by plastic wrap and being forced to choke on your own vomit might be the worst way you can go. That shit is awful and disgusting.
He really hated that fucking guy. I mean, that's just so much worse than what the other two guys got by a lot. And it's also a callback to an earlier point in the movie when it was right after the dance scene where everything was going fuck up and he was demanding to smell his wife's panties. And she's like, remember when you were a dog and you were drunk and you would choke on your own vomit?
Yeah.
I guess that gave him the idea. Poor fucking guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
It's rough.
Yeah.
The scene where they're both, it's after the dance where it's supposed to be Pocahontas and John Smith. It's it starts off on such a crazy level because he's demanding to, smell her panties because he thought that she slept with the dentist. But then at the end of the scene, she's smelling him because she's worried that he drank. That's one thing he has that separates him from the three men. The ghost of Christmas past, present, and future is he has a wife at home who's supportive of him. That's kind of, I guess, what makes him the guy who comes out on top, is he gets to go home to that, whereas they, go home to either, the first guy has a wife that's cheating on him, the second guy they don't really elaborate on, and then the third guy, his wife, will not come to the cabin. She will not ball out at the cabin. That's what gave him strength. Oh, one shot. There's a shot where they do a time lapse. It's outside of the little greenhouse that he constructed. They do a time lapse from day to night. But what's fucking crazy is at the end, after the time lapse is over, they do this crazy crane move. And I was just thinking, what do you do if you fuck up the focus on the crane move? Do you have to get another time lapse? That's one of those things that's could be way more high intensity than you think. Just trying to actually physically film that.
You have to use the healing power of prayer.
There we go.
In that situation, there's no other choice.
There we go.
That was not intentional. That was not intentional at all.
No other choice.
Sorry, the word came out of my mouth and I was like,
no other choice.
no other choice. Fellas, this is me when there's no other choice, honestly.
True. I do love the bit of them having children named C1 and Re1 and dogs named C2 and Re2. If I ever have a daughter, her name is gonna be Megalodon 2. Gotta do the bit.
It's the Megalodon.
Alright, Yoda.
That's me trying to do a Jason Statham impression.
Yep, Yoda.
That's your Jason Statham.
Oh, it's a Megalodon. Yeah. Oh, I'm Jason Statham. Right, I'm Jason Statham. It's a Megalodon.
Weirdly enough, that's better. That's better what you just did.
Sorry, Tim turned to his side and looked mildly ashamed of what he had just heard.
I'm just having a great time.
It's a Megalodon.
Whatever you say, bud.
Megalodon. Oh my god, it's a Megalodon. It's gonna kill us.
There's no other choice.
There's no other choice. It's a Megalodon. There's no other choice.
So this movie, it's about industry. It's an industry that very much will get its workforce reduced by artificial intelligence, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, the global pulp and paper mill industry, it shrinks by 0.5% every year for the last 2 decades or something. But the actual container for delivering this fable about AI is a movie. And I think feature films are one of the few things AI is never going to be able to make on the same level as people. Much as people like to yap about that happening, if you really think about it, the current transform architecture just can't replicate the complexity that happens when hundreds or thousands of professionals work on the same art project for years. I don't think it's ever going to be able to match that level of complexity. What do you guys take about, because every time they release a new fucking model, they're like, yeah, it's gonna make movies. Do you guys think that's even realistic?
I think
my opinion is that at most I could see the current AI generation models being used to augment visual effects. Not even outright replace it. I could see it as an augmentation. Maybe for iterative purposes. I'm actually fairly confident that for most artistic jobs, we're safe. I beyond the fact that I don't think the models are outputting anything really worth a damn. Beyond that, I truly do believe people want a human touch in their art. I do think maybe some of the lower level stuff, like I think if you're a storyboard artist, you might be a little worried.
I will say, speaking as a low-level editor who has been trying to apply for low-level editing jobs, it's been rough. That's the problem, is the low-level stuff is what's getting hit. It's getting fucked.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at, like, because you know what, you're right. I think low-level editing jobs are at risk, because, like, here's something. Tim, at his old job, used to use a software called Autopod.
Yeah.
I think Autopod is a pretty nifty software. All it's doing is basically reading the waveform and cutting to close-ups when you want it to do it.
Right.
You know, it's actually pretty simple technology. It's technically AI in a very general sense. It's more a basic algorithm.
Right.
It's probably something that we've been able to do for at least 5 years. If not longer. It's just AI advancements has made it more sophisticated a bit.
Yeah, it's
but
just
stuff like that becoming popular. Technically, I mean, clearly, Tim, it didn't affect your job at the time because you were using it and then fixing it.
Yeah.
But like Autopod existing has taken away a job from someone that would do that manually.
Yeah.
Now I will say that's just one aspect of editing a podcast. There's also some audio editing stuff. There's, you know, knowing when to cut out conversation that isn't productive. So, like, in the best case scenario, I see Autopod as a tool to help you get to the more complex stuff faster. That's what I use it for. You know, I use it to get to my close-ups, and then I also use it to, it can automatically cut out gaps of silence. They call it a jump cut editor.
Yeah.
Very useful in that regard. And then I'm able to do I use it for the movie nights I've edited. I use Autopod to help narrow it down, and then I also go through it and cut it down even further, depending on either ahs, or, you know, sometimes it misses a gap of silence, or there's a conversation that I don't like that isn't productive. But Autopod definitely saves me hours of work. But, like, yeah, the lower level stuff's in danger, which sucks.
Yeah.
But I do think when that stuff starts getting more expensive, and I do think it will get expensive, they will probably bring some people back in. I don't think all the jobs will come back. I think some of them will. I think it's going to be a really confusing time for some of these lower level jobs. And it's kind of a thing where if you already got on the ladder, hang on for dear life.
Yeah.
Obviously, don't pull it up from under you. Never pull it up from under you. But definitely don't let go at this point. It's scary. It's a scary time. But we talked about this a little bit before the recording. I generally believe that most jobs will be fine. Not just in the film industry, but in general. I truly believe most jobs will be fine. I do not think AI is nowhere near sophisticated enough yet, and I don't think it's going to get sophisticated enough. And I especially don't think robotics are sophisticated enough for a lot of this stuff right now.
Yeah. My perspective on it is, and I'm getting less worried about it because it seems like there's been a lot more pushback against AI, and a lot of people who were once investing in it are backing out a little bit more. I was worried for a long time that like it would come down to a thing of, you know, there a lot of like media just getting, you know, more and more working the AI stuff in more and more, and, you know, not necessarily being good, but getting to a certain point where it's just like whatever, you're gonna consume it anyway. You know, the whole they live thing.
Yeah, not good, but acceptable.
Yeah. So that was a concern. I'm, I guess, less worried just because AI is the bubble's getting close to capacity. So,
and for the record, it will have, when that bubble pops, that is the only thing propping up the stock market right now. It'll have disastrous effects on, if not just the American economy, then the global economy. It'll be the worst. It's not gonna be nearly as bad as '08 was, but it's gonna be the worst since '08.
Yeah.
Once that bubble pops.
Yeah. It's gonna be rough. Unfortunately, it's probably necessary, but it's gonna be rough.
Do you think there will be like
there's no other
groups
choice
for people who wait, we could make a buck off this. We could do support groups for people who overused LLMs to like read their emails and write their emails and stuff. Like people who don't send a Teams message without passing it through ChatGPT first or something. Like people who legitimately broke their brains back when LLMs were affordable and how they can't afford LLMs.
I hope.
We gotta be like the methadone for that shit. We gotta like remind people like, oh yeah, this is how you graph out a sentence.
Yeah.
And we'll have practices where like now you read for 60 straight seconds, and then we're gonna read for 180 seconds.
Because I will say this, I have found Copilot or Gemini to be more effective than a normal Google search sometimes. If you ask it to give you a list of links. Basically, if you ask it to just do a Google search, it'll do a better job than Google can sometimes.
Yes.
But that's less about the AI getting better and more about the fact that Google has just gotten so bad the last 5 years.
Yes. They nerfed the search engines.
Google sucks so bad now. Like for basic shit, I'm usually able to find what I need, but like when I'm trying to when I was planning vacations last month, that shit got annoying sometimes. Yeah. Trying to just find shit that wasn't just like bullshit from on the top of the Google search engine.
Oh,
like I'm talking TripAdvisor was the 5th link. TripAdvisor should be the 1st link. What the fuck?
Fuck. Did either of you see that trailer for On This Day, 1776?
Oh, you mean the thing that has officially gotten rid of what little credibility Aronofsky had left?
What happened to him, man? What happened to him?
Well, I mean, I do think the whole he plagiarized Perfect Blue for Black Swan thing is a bit overstated. I actually think those movies are pretty different. Yeah. I can't say that to someone's face now because he's just openly making AI bullshit. Like, am I going to look you in the eyes and say, no, Aronofsky doesn't just rip people off? Shit, maybe he do.
Yeah. While we're on the AI train, I do just want to take a moment to bitch about the RAM thing, because I'm so fucking pissed off that RAM is unaffordable, because like I need to buy a new computer time, and fuck me, I guess, because that shit ain't happening.
And Tim, I hate to tell you this, but if you do need a new computer, you need to buy that shit today. Because it is only going to keep getting worse until probably late 2027, if not early 2028.
Hate it here.
There's a chance it might be 2029.
Isn't the RAM they're manufacturing for, like, the data centers not RAM you can put in a computer like the kind we use?
Yeah, that's the worst part. When this shit's done, you can't just, like, simply put it in a computer. It's manufactured a little differently.
Fucking hate it.
So it's not going to be like when the NFT and crypto bubbles burst a little bit and all of a sudden the market was flooded with more affordable GPUs. This is just going to be a problem for the next couple of years. But I do sincerely think that someone will try and pick the ball up here. I do think there is a strong desire for personal home computing, and the market will self-correct a little bit, I think. I don't know how, because getting manufacturing RAM speed is actually really hard. But, you know, they'll figure it out.
Is the phrase "no other choice" just following orders, but when, like, Hitler is shareholders? Is that...
Yes, next question.
What did you get out of the ending of this film? What does it offer to you? Is it, like, nihilistic, or is it a warning? Do you empathize with Mansu?
Here's my opinion. My opinion is he's got the fucking moves, man.
He's got the moves like Jagger.
He got the moves like Jagger. He got the moves like Jagger. He got the moves like Jagger. Next question.
Yeah, no, I don't know if it's nihilistic, but it's definitely bleak. It's definitely like you did all this to try and save everything that you were losing, and then you just lost everything else. But you have this job now, this shitty job. Congrats.
Especially, with, like, patriarchal society, who you are as a worker can, like, completely, you know, swallow the rest of who you are for certain people. Mm-hmm. It totally takes over their self-image. And I got this thing with, specifically because, you know, the first time you see those trees getting destroyed, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit like, what? Because even, like, the like, quality of the footage was different.
Yeah.
Those final few shots of the trees getting destroyed.
Yeah, those shots looked like they were maybe shot on, like, a digital camcorder or something almost, or like a GoPro. Like, the frame rate was different.
Even formally, they're jarring, and it's like one of those things like Begonia, where it's like, oh, we have this little montage at the end that's supposed to make you think. And I got something very specific out of that. As much as I appreciate all the little talks in this movie, like fetishizing the tactile, versatile nature of paper, we have a couple of those. In the end, paper cuts down trees, and it creates a lot of trash.
Yeah.
You want to frame this guy as, like, an innocent victim of capitalism, but that ending montage kind of reminds you that, like, the paper industry is also a slow killing machine in disguise.
Yeah.
I thought about the scene early on where he's with his buddies before everyone's, like, gotten laid off, and they're just sitting there, and they're dropping these giant logs. There's, like, a whole forest of just fucking logs behind them, and they're just, like, having a smoke break outside. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where maybe he was a little more, like, predestined to murder people like this because of the industry he was in. You know, juicing things down to create this other thing violently is kind of inherent to his business. And I thought that might have been part of, like, the larger thing trying to be said in the movie, maybe.
Yeah, I can see that. For sure.
Oh, Tim, did you notice any... I got some... There were a few things on the rewatch where I was like, oh! But the biggest thing that stood out on my rewatch was how the note that his company gave him in the beginning scene of the movie, when everything's happy, how it reads so much more like a termination letter.
100%.
The second time around, it says, thank you for your hard work and your years of dedication to solar paper. And I was like, how did I miss that?
Yeah, then they're just like...
How did he miss that?
Just like, oh, they didn't give you the squid, did you? Oh, jeez.
They wouldn't, not you. Immediate cut to...
It's so crazy because the way the movie starts, his job feels so secure. And I think it's because he clearly did not comprehend that he was laid off, which is kind of really funny. That he somehow missed that. He thought he was just doing his friends a favor, trying to get them their jobs back.
Yeah.
He didn't realize it was his own job that was cooked.
when he goes to that meeting, the one where they teach you the coping mechanisms, this movie has an example of something that has frustrated me for my entire life, and that is when you're getting heated, when you're genuinely upset, and someone gets in your face and is like, all right, deep breaths. And the lady in this movie does it with a particular funny look on her face that just takes you there, man. It just makes you mad. You're like, please don't tell me to take deep breaths. Fuck you. It was nice seeing that represented on screen, because I've had that happen to me about 200 times in my life.
Absolutely. There are times where it's like, I know you mean well, but I need you to shut the fuck up or I'm gonna kill myself, actually.
Tanner, when his Facebook
I'm
was
taking
down.
everyone down with me. I deleted Facebook. But yeah. Basically,
We have no other choice but to wrap this episode up.
final thoughts, Austin.
Me? This is better than Mickey 17, worse than Parasite. I think this movie got so swept up in directing the war within the middle class that it forgot to attach satisfying payoffs to certain other things in the screenplay. It's technically a masterpiece, but it's a little too long. Still likely to make the average person's top 10 list, but it's not gonna, change your fucking life like The Handmaiden or Oldboy did.
Tim, final thoughts.
Yeah, no other choice. Good movie. Liked it a lot. I've pretty much said my piece on it, but I would definitely check it out. If you're able to catch it in theaters still, make it out to the movies and see this picture. If not, just wait for it to come on home video. But definitely give it a watch if you're a fan of Park Chan-Wook's work, or just movies about guys who kill people because they have no other choice. Back to you, Tanner.
There was no other choice. Great stuff, great stuff. Yeah, this is one of my favorite movies of the year. I'd honestly say it might just be one of my favorite movies of all time. My favorite Park Chan-Wook movie after Oldboy. I think it has a lot of interesting stuff to say about capitalism, how we tie our self-worth to employment, which can be interesting here in America, considering our healthcare is directly tied to employment. Hey-yo. The way Austin's smile just dropped killed me. He said, don't remind me. It's a great movie. It's a fantastic leading performance. It's one of the best acted movies of the year, one of the best written movies of the year, one of the best directed movies of the year. It's the full package. You have no other choice but to love this movie. But you know who else has no other choice but to love this video?
Ooh.
You, the person watching / listening to this episode of Bomb Squad Matinee. Thank you oh so very much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you are listening on any of the audio platforms we're on, thank you oh so very much for listening. How about you mosey on down below and leave a review? It helps boost us in the algorithm or something. I don't know. I just work here. And if you are listening, how about you mosey on down over to the Patreon, where the $5 tier gets you access to commentary tracks that we release occasionally, and the $10 tier gets you access to a shout out at the end of the episode. So, my mother, Tanya Craft, thank you so much for contributing to the channel and helping my dream of not actively losing money on this enterprise every month come true. I have a car note now. I really need to not lose money on this.
You have no other choice but to stand Tanya Craft.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're not done giving us money, how about you head on over to our merch shop? That's right, we got hoodies, we got shirts. We don't got pants now, but we do got posters and magnets. So go ahead and buy some merch. That sends money our way. We really appreciate it. And finally, if you are watching on YouTube, thank you oh so very much for watching. We really appreciate it. How about you mosey on down over to the comment section below and let me know, what do you think of No Other Choice? Is it one of your favorite Park Chan-Wook's movie? Do you think the emotional impact is there? How crazy is the directing? Isn't it fucking nuts this movie wasn't isn't it fucking nuts that this movie wasn't nominated for Best Director? Or isn't it fucking nuts that this movie it is fucking nuts it wasn't nominated for Best Director. It's just even more nuts it wasn't nominated for Best International Feature Film. And finally, You killing? You killing people then putting them in a tree? You put that bitch in a tree? Comment below and let me know. And while you're down there, hit the like button so we know how much you like us. Hit the subscribe button so we know how much you love us. And hit the bell icon to know exactly when we upload new videos. Tune in next week for the first of back-to-back episodes hosted by Joe. That's right. We're going to be talking about a movie that is very special to Joe that I think we all really love. We're going to be talking about 2014's The Lego Movie.
Not just that, it is the 100th episode of Bomb Squad Matinee, so be sure to tune in for number 100, baby.
Should be a lot of fun. We'll see you next time. Bye.
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 Can you imagine if I just opened the episode with, "Oh my god, guys, I have a girlfriend"? I'm not gonna do that. That's cring.
Good news, I'm keeping this in.
Are you fucking...
Kring!
There's the editor.
die.
I should have known. The editor is on here. He's diabolical.
In the end, Tim had no other choice.
I think Austin said this once on a 3.5 Walls episode. It's just like, too bad your editor has BPD.
Jesus Christ. Completely different times.